My lazy husband refused to get ready for my birthday dinner, so I left without him, and it changed my life forever. It was my 40th birthday a few days ago, and we had a reservation for a table at a nice restaurant for 7 p.m. It takes about 20 minutes to drive to the restaurant, so I planned to leave the house at 6:30 p.m. to build in time for traffic and picking up my father. My husband, 43M, had decided to do some work on his car about half an hour before we needed to leave. At 6:30, when the kids and I were waiting by the door, he was still doing it. He hadn't changed and hadn't showered. I told him to get ready quickly, but it got to 6:50, and he still wasn't ready, so I decided to leave without him. He has a habit of always running late when we go out and is always the last one to be ready. I've brought it up multiple times before, but nothing has changed. I do admit that I can be a pushover when it comes to waiting for him, but I'm sick of having to put other things on hold to check if he is ready and being late for family plans. He was late for my mother's funeral last year. Usually, I can tolerate it since it only sets things back by 10 minutes at the most. But my birthday dinner was important to me, and I had been looking forward to it for weeks. Making us wait for 20 minutes was taking the mick. So I yelled out that we were leaving and left because I didn't want to lose the table since we would have arrived at about 7:20. I called the restaurant to let them know we would be late. We luckily still had our table, but my husband didn't show up at the restaurant, and when we got home he was mad at me. I told him that I was tired of him not respecting my time, and always making people wait for him, and that he could have made his own way to the restaurant. My father agreed with my decision to leave without him, but my kids were a little upset that he wasn't there to have dinner with us. Am I wrong for leaving without him? Update. It's been 2 weeks since the incident. My eldest had a school football match last week, a few days after I posted my original post. I planned for us to leave at 5 p.m. and, as per my resolution not to tolerate his tardiness anymore, left at 5 p.m. without my husband since he wasn't ready. Just like with my birthday dinner, he didn't show up. My youngest and I had a lovely time watching the match and supporting my eldest. He even scored a goal and his team won. Last weekend I met up with a couple of friends to catch up over lunch, and both my sons were going to their friend's birthday party on the same day. My husband was in charge of dropping them off since my thing began about an hour before the party. I told him a week in advance, the day before and before I left the house, that he needed to get the kids to the party on time. I even followed the advice of some comments from my original post and told him that the party began at 12:30 instead of 1, so that the kids wouldn't be late if my husband wasn't ready to leave on time. At 2 o'clock, I got a call from the birthday boy's dad asking if my sons were still coming to the party, and I also saw I had a missed call from my eldest. My husband had not taken them. I rang him several times and he wouldn't pick up, so I called my eldest and he answered the phone in tears. He said their dad was doing work on his car again, and when the kids asked him to take them to the party, he yelled at them and called them whiny brats. I said goodbye to my friends and went home to take my kids to their party. They were hours late. He didn't care that the kids felt humiliated and missed a good deal of the party, which also meant that their friend was upset with them. Something inside me snapped and I decided I was done. I've had a look at some of the literature and such that some of you recommended, and have talked to my dad about what to do next. I spoke to the kids as well, about the very likely possibility of their father and I splitting up. They weren't completely happy with it, which is understandable, but they agreed that it was the right decision. They said they had felt scared of their father on several recent occasions, and didn't trust him anymore, which was heartbreaking to hear. I haven't been happy for a while, and neither have the kids, I now realize. In addition to my husband being late or not showing up at all, there are other issues in our relationship, and you have helped me realize the truth about his treatment of our family, and given me the strength I need to put a stop to it. I can no longer justify his behavior or make excuses for him. Along with being late to my mother's funeral, he offered no emotional support when she died, to either me or the kids, which should have been enough to make me seriously consider my marriage. Still, I'm glad it's finally happened now. A couple of days ago, I told my husband how I felt and sent him my original post. To be honest, I have no interest in marriage counseling, I just want to move on with my life. But I suggested he look into therapy for himself. I explained that it didn't feel like he was part of the family anymore, and that our sons and I were struggling with the strain in our marriage, and I'm sure he has too. It's not a healthy environment for me, my sons, or my husband, and I can't let my kids miss out because of their father's incompetence any longer. I told him that I wanted a divorce, as I'm sure many of you predicted, which he accepted. He told me that he no longer wants any involvement in anything to do with the family and will move out ASAP. My sons and I will go about our lives, and the soon-to-be ex-husband will go about his. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. You're all my heroes and I will be forever grateful. Thank you.